Hey everyone, welcome to Pit Stops To Podium, the RevPartners podcast where we talk to execs who have competed and won, taking their companies from high growth to high scale. Well, my name is Brendan Tollison. I serve as the co-founder and CEO of RevPartners, and I'm delighted to have with me today Jessika Phillips for this episode of Pit Stops To Podium. Welcome, Jessika.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
We were joking earlier, Jessika. It turns out you and I are wearing the exact same thing for this podcast, which was not planned, but always a fun fact as we go into these conversations. For those that don't know, Jessika is the founder of Now Marketing, Now Marketing Group, rather. And for Jessika, for those that may not be familiar with Now Marketing, who is Now Marketing?
Yeah, Now Marketing Group is a relationship marketing agency located in Lima, Ohio, but serving clients all over the US and beyond that focus on helping clients outcare their competition.
Well, I'm excited to talk about this care framework. But before we get into that big idea, Jessika, we do have a tradition here, which is to get to know our guests outside of work. So what are 3 fun facts that our audience should know about Jessika?
Oh, okay. 3 fun facts. Well, I am a mom of 3 teenage girls, somehow still keeping it together right now. My favorite snack is chips and salsa. I eat that like every day. And another fun fact is that I got to do social media for NASA out of a contest and won. So,
what was the project, or can you not share?
It was the State of Social. Was in 2018. That they had, where you got to go to one of the NASA locations and just tweet and talk about all the things that they're going to be planning to do and what they're currently doing. You got to do like behind the scenes kind of tour. It was a lot of fun.
Oh, that's great. Mm-hmm. Well, thanks for sharing a little bit. 3 teenage girls, that does sound like a lot. You probably eat a lot of chips and salsa to manage that burden. Burden is the wrong word. That joy that you get to...
Depends on the day. The words could be swapped out, yeah.
That's great. Well, as we transition into the big idea, in light of what you do, a lot of the companies that are listening to, or people that are listening to this podcast, are revenue leaders. They are looking at, hey, how do I transition from high growth to high scale? And how do I think about marketing? And marketing certainly has evolved over time. And I think there's this, the idea that you wanted to kind of cast to our audience, really around this idea that relationships will always be more powerful than marketing. Mm-hmm. And so I think it's kind of, hey, what is the priority? And the priority will inform the strategies and ultimately the tactics. But let maybe give a little bit of contextual layer as to what you mean by that kind of relationship concept, because it may not be new, but I think in terms of how you think about it and ultimately execute on it is a little bit different.
Yeah. I mean, you said it, like marketing changes all the time, but really the essence of business hasn't, right? We do business with, everybody's heard the know, like, trust, right? And that word of mouth is the number one generator of business. It's just now switched from word of mouth to world of mouth online, especially as we look at marketing. And where I say relationships will always be more powerful than marketing is because 90% of all buying decisions start online now. And people are basing their decision on if they work with a company A or company B based upon what people are saying about the experience that they're having with the company, whether it be reviews or, sharing their suggestions on somebody's Facebook post asking for a referral. But people are only going to refer those people that they truly have a good relationship with. And they're only going to stay loyal to those that they have a good relationship or rapport or trust built in with those companies. Starting from, I like to say, the inside out with, who we're hiring that's working with their customers and it goes from there. But at the end of the day, we're going to maintain and keep the customers, the team members, and the partners in our businesses with those that we've built a relationship with and keep them long term.
Yeah, I think the reality that a lot of B2B organizations are faced with, and it's kind of like, a lot of the parallels in B2C are now applying in B2B, and the customer has more power than ever. And they're really the ones that can be the evangelizers for you and ultimately provide that multiplier effect and to grow, or they can be terrorists for your organization. And so it's really important that you create that experience that you were just talking about. So before we get into, let's dive in and let's talk a little bit about, you mentioned outcare in your introduction, and really care for you is really a framework. So let's walk our audience through this care framework that Now Marketing focuses on.
Yeah, I feel like outcare, when we talk about care as it relates to marketing, is that one thing to remember is that we're never done marketing. I like to say, Care is turning our followers on our page to real fans. It's turning our clients into our biggest advocates. It's turning our team members to our biggest evangelists, and people in our community to collaborators with us. And by doing this, we're able to care, which is the acronym, capture attention, articulate our message, relationships for repeat referral business, and exceptional experiences. And what happens with this, when I say we're never done marketing, because we just talked about all buying decisions starting online, people are the number one deciding factor if they're working with one company or another is based upon the perceived experience that somebody's going to have with a business. So that in itself means that our people that love working with us are going to be our best generator of business. So care is the framework that turns, instead of a sales funnel, into a flywheel effect, because the more that we can care for our customers, the more momentum that we have. And that's how our companies can grow outwardly, by focusing on capturing attention first, with knowing who our ideal customer is and who we're trying to serve at the end of the day. And so we know how to show up and really to articulate our message, the A part of care, with our own flavor and style. I like the saying that people say, you don't have to reinvent ice cream, but you need to have your own flavor to make it craveable, right? And so people can want to come back and choose working with us and our brand versus just being the same flavor as everyone else. Like, how are people going to refer us on, and what is going to make them want to come back and keep choosing us? And then the R part of care is relationships for repeat referral business. Like, what can we do that's just a little bit different and extra that is going to show that we do care? Like, are we personalizing our approach? Are we sending like a video email versus, a regular email? Are we, building in that company culture and camaraderie within our teams to make it a great place to work? So we are not suffering like many companies were with the Great Resignation, because ultimately the people that are providing that exceptional experience to our customers at the end of the day are the team members that are working within the organizations. So if they're not happy, they're probably not, caring if our customers are happy either. And so we need to look at how we're showing up and start from the inside out as it relates to marketing, to think through a care mentality, an out care mentality.
Yeah, I love the framework, and I think it's a good transition to your point about the inside out. So for those marketers that may be saying, okay, how do I start with this care framework? You do talk about this inside out, and really from a brand marketing perspective. So for those that are either kind of in that seat or aspire to be in that seat, what's the next step they should take from an inside out approach, and how can you help them?
I like to say you have to sense before you seize. Okay. So what I mean by that, before we think about just what's the next thing to add on when we start, especially now when we're hearing all the predictions of marketing in, next year in 2023, like, what are we, instead of just adding things on, what if we paused and took a minute to say, what truly is our North Star as a brand? So I like to say, starting from the basic core of who the company is from the inside out, of knowing what is our manifesto, like, what are we truly here to do? What should people feel about us when they think about working with our organization? Like, do we even know what our personality, style is? Because if we've identified our manifesto first, then we can compare before we do anything else to make sure that it aligns with truly who we are and what we're going to spend our time doing. And so we're not wasting time and wasting effort. From there, then we talk about our company culture. Like, what are some of our non-negotiables? Who do we want to work with? What is our, things that we can do to truly show up for our team to make it a good company culture and environment? Are we taking that feedback from our team members seriously? Then we identify our customers, our ideal customers that we want to work with, and the ones that are, the most excited to work with us, that are referring us on already. Are we taking time to interview them and ask them, like, what made you decide working with us? What keeps you here? What could we be doing better? And take some of that feedback, build out your personas, especially if you haven't done this in a long time, like, really refine that and see where there's opportunity for you to show up in a bigger way. And I do have this framework, by the way, with a checklist that I would definitely want to give to everyone, that has these steps in there of each thing that you can do with some examples in it, so you can build this out for every organization, because it doesn't matter what niche of a business that you're in. there's somebody else that does that thing that you do, but there's nobody else that's going to be able to do it the way that you do it. It's not like what we do, it's how we do it. So it's really refining how we're showing up, who we're showing up for, and how we are going to become the most memorable to outcarry the competition.
Yeah, we had Andrew, who's the managing partner at GrowthX, and he was talking through product market fit. And one of the things he talks a lot about is, like, when you think about ICP, there's ideal company profile and ideal customer profile. And the idea that he was trying to present to our audience is focus on your existing customers, not necessarily your company, because the customer is the actual data. And so one's aspirational, one's actual. And so understanding who you serve, why they purchase from you, really it kind of informs that care framework that you were just describing. All right, so Jessica, let's transition into the last topic. So we talked a little about the care framework. We talked about the inside out approach, but now we kind of get into how. And so how do you, from a marketer perspective, get that message out? And you have this whole topic around co-creating as a new influencer marketing. What do you mean by that?
So co-creating, we've moved now from people are calling it Web3, metaverse, right? Not to be confused with Facebook's new name, Meta, but metaverse is all about Web3. So Web 1 was read only, where you could find information online. It was just like a live newspaper, if you will. Web 2 was social media, where you could read, write, right? You could respond to things. But now we're moving into read, write, co-create, where people are expecting a richer, deeper experience that they're having with brands. They want to be able to do things at their own pace and in real time, and the doors never close, so to speak, right? So it's the thought when you're buying from Amazon, for example, and you want to see if a piece of furniture fits into your room, you can actually, have some augmented reality with that. Not to say that that's going to fit every company, right? But what you can do is look at how can I co-create within my organization with my customer to give them a richer, deeper, and co-created experience with us, whether that's building in a loyalty program, whether that's one thing that we did at Now Marketing Group is create a client portal where they could see all the projects that we're working on in real time. They could, check out who's doing what. It's all time tracked, automatically with AI. So it's transparency, right? It's allowing our clients to have an app where they can, engage and ask questions in real time and a knowledge base. It's building in those utilities that they can also, use and apply within whatever problem that company is solving for that customer, right? So that's one of the things that we're moving into with our clients is finding what is that utility that you can create to truly help your customer solve a problem faster or smarter or reach a goal faster. But this is the new co-create, because social media channels now too are fragmenting, right? Like it's becoming more and more dark social, not to be confused with the dark web, completely different topic, but dark social, which means that more conversations are, fragmenting off to, happen in private channels and to, happen and different social apps. There's ones that pop up all the time now. And so it's harder and harder to capture attention. So what the companies need to focus on, though, instead of just trying to show up and then sign up for a TikTok and Be Real and everything else, is instead just focus on the conversations that your customer is already going to be having within those conversations and where they're hanging out. So if you can build in those utilities for your customer, then it doesn't matter where they're hanging out. They're going to still be hopefully talking about you in a positive light. And hopefully you even get invited into the conversation. But you have to think through, instead of us just having our own business and brand and then there's a customer, how can you work through some more immersive experiences to co-create with your customer?
Yeah, it kind of goes back to coming full circle a little bit. The customer has more power probably than ever. And like for B2B, the facade of control of the buyer's journey, to your point about the dark funnel, I mean, you're going to win or lose in the dark funnel at this point, unfortunately. Question for you is who, and this may be a layup for you given like what you do, but what B2B organization is doing this well? Would love to hear an example.
Without being I love one of the examples because this is a very unique client, it's one of our clients. I love his name is Mr. Manhole. So they sell a tool to people that are doing road work and road construction, milling and paving, things like that. So all the, the potholes that you go drive across, he's helping solve that problem for everybody. But what he invested in the past couple years is one, building his own installer portal where the installers, because he's not doing the jobs, he's just selling the tool. So he could literally sell the customer the tool, let them continue on with their construction, milling and paving business. Well, instead, he built an installer portal with this where then it's helping them to learn how to market their companies smarter, faster, better, safer. He's created to help, them have their own website already ready-made for them. So he's enhancing their experience by investing even more so than just the tool that he's selling, right? So now as he decides maybe potentially to pivot his business, or to grow his business another way, he still has all these rich experiences that he's already built in addition to just having this product or tool, right? So he doesn't have competition in that way. I also think Agora Pulse, their social media, so a SaaS company example, they do a great job of this too. Similarly, they are investing in the people that invest already in them. They're helping promote people that, are using their product and service. They're helping to educate them to do their job even better, and really provide access to take the feedback that their customers are providing to them and putting that into action steps on how to improve their tool. They're really great at that.
That's great. Well, thank you for sharing some. It's always fun to hear stories. So I think it makes it even more relevant. Well, Jessika, if our audience says, hey, this sounds really interesting, would love to learn more, what are ways in which they can engage with you, either at a personal level or personal level, or with your organization? What steps can they take?
Sure. So you can visit my website, which has all the social handles there. So whichever one you're hanging out on, we can connect there. My website's Jessika, Jessika, Phillips, PHILLIPS.com. Feel free to connect with me on the social network of your choice. And there's also a link to Now Marketing Group on there as well. And the free workbook, it's bit.ly/care. That's all caps, care. More. And we'll put, I'm sure, the link in your show notes here for people to get the workbook that guides through the process.
Well, thanks for offering that. We certainly will. And Jessika, thanks for stopping by. This is really informative. I'm sure for our marketing leaders, it'll be one that they find a lot of insights from and ultimately action upon. So thanks again for giving us your time. We really do appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.